Hi again everyone, I'm Sir Chester and welcome sa ating Basic Calculus series. So sa lesson na to, pag-aralan natin ang the derivative as a slope of the tangent line. So before we start, let's hit the intro. So for today's objective, at the end of this video lesson, you should be able to apply the definition of derivative of a function at a given number. And you should relate the derivative of a function to the slope of the tangent line. The derivative of function at x of o is defined to be f prime of x of o equals the limit of f of x minus f of x of o all over x minus x of o as x approaches x of o. So kung familiar kayo sa equation na to, actually this is our equation for the slope of tangent line. So ibig sabihin, ang ating derivative ay ang slope ng ating tangent line. So if this limit exists, that is the derivative of function at x of o, the slope of the tangent at x of o f of x of o exists. So the derivative of the function y equals f of x is denoted by, so we have f prime of x, dx f of x, yan. So we have d over dx f of x. So ito pa, we have d over dx y. And lastly, we have dy over dx. Kung may nakita kayong mga ganitong notation, ibig sabihin you are asked to find the derivative or that is the derivative of that function. So let's try this example. We let f of x equal 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. Use the definition of derivative to find f prime of negative 1. So in this problem, we are given f of x equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. And we are asked to find the f prime of negative 1. So let's start by writing our equation. So we have f primes of x equals the limit of f of x minus f of x of o divided by x minus x of o as x approaches x of o. Looking at the equation, ang mga known values natin ay yung x of o which is negative 1 at ang ating f of x which is 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. Since given ang f of o which is negative 1, pwede natin siyang isubstitute sa ating equation para makompute natin ang f of x of o. So we have f of x of o equals, substitute natin si negative 1 sa ating function which is 2 times negative 1 squared plus 3 times negative 1 minus 1. Simplify natin, we have 2 times negative 1 squared, we have 2 plus 3 times negative 1 which is negative 3 minus 1. And this is equal to 2 minus 3 equals negative 1 minus 1 and we have negative 2 as our f of x of o. Since alam na natin ang ating f of x of o, pwede na natin siyang substitute sa ating equation. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of f of x minus f of x of o divided by x minus x of o as x approaches x of o. Substitute na natin. limit of f of x, ang f of x natin ay 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 minus our x of o is negative 2 divide by x minus yung x of o natin which is negative 1 as x approaches x of o or negative 1. Simplify. We have the limit of 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 plus 2 equals plus 1. Divide by x minus negative 1 is plus 1 as x approaches negative 1. Now, let's try to substitute the value of x which is negative 1 sa ating equation. So we have 2 times negative 1 squared plus 3 times negative 1 plus 1 divide by x or negative 1 plus 1. And this is equal to 2 times negative 1 squared, we have 2 minus 3 plus 1. Divide by negative 1 plus 1 is 0. And this is equal to 2 minus 3 negative 1 plus 1, we have 0 over 0. So meron tayong sagot na nasa indeterminate form. So pag meron tayong sagot na nasa indeterminate form, meron tayong mga process na sinusunod like factorization or rationalization. Since ang may apply natin sa ating example ay factorization, kailangan nating i-factor yung 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 para makompute natin yung limit. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of yung factor ng 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 is 2x plus 1 times x plus 1 divided by x plus 1 as x approaches negative 1. X plus 1 cancel. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of 2x plus 1 as x approaches negative 1. Substitute yung negative 1 sa ating equation. We have f prime of negative 1 is equal to 2 times negative 1 plus 1, and this is equal to negative 2 plus 1 equals negative 1. So our f prime of negative 1 is negative 1. So for the next example, we have let f of x equal x squared minus 4x plus 1 and use the definition of derivative to find f prime of 2. So we are given f of x, which is f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 1. And we are asked to find f prime of 2. So again, let's start by writing our formula. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of f of x minus f of x of o divided by x minus x of o as x approaches x of o. So ang known values natin are yung f of x, x of o which is 2, and then yung f of x of o natin, makukompute natin yan by substituting 2 doon sa ating equation. So our f of x of o equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 1. And this is equal to 2 raised to 2 is 4 minus 8 plus 1. Again, this is equal to 4 minus 8 negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So we have f sub x of o is equal to negative 3. And now, substitute na natin mga known values natin sa equation natin. We have f prime of x equals the limit of f of x is x squared minus 4x plus 1 minus our f of x of o is negative 3. And this is all over x minus x of o, which is 2 as x approaches 2. Simplify natin. We have the limit of x squared minus 4x. So we have 1 minus negative 3 is positive 4. Divide by x minus 2 as x approaches 2. So let's try to substitute 2 sa ating equation. So we have 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 4. Divide by 2 minus 2. So we have 4 minus 8 equals negative 4 plus 4, we have 0. Divide by 2 minus 2, we have 0. So meron tayong sagot na nasa indeterminate form. So kailan nating i-factor yung numerator natin. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of, ano yung factor ng x squared minus 4x plus 4? We have x minus 2 times x minus 2. Divide by denominator, which is x minus 2 as x approaches 2. X minus 2 cancel, and this is equal to f prime of x is equal to the limit of x minus 2 as x approaches 2. Substitute natin yung 2 sa ating equation. So we have f prime of 2 equals 2 minus 2, and this is equal to 0. So our f prime of 2 is 0. So meron tayong alternative definition of derivative. So we have f prime of x is equal to the limit of f of x plus delta x minus f of x divided by delta x as delta x approaches 0. So paano natin i-apply ang equation na ito? So para ma-apply yung alternative definition ng ating derivative, meron tayong 3-step rule na kailangang sundan. So first, we have to change x to x plus delta x, and then simplify. And lastly, we have to subtract f of x divided by delta x, then find the limit as x approaches 0. So first example, we are given the function f of x equals x squared, and we are asked to find the derivative using the alternative definition of derivative. So in the problem, we are asked to find the derivative of f of x equals x squared by using the alternative definition of derivative. So f prime of x is, so we will start by writing our formula. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of f of x plus delta x minus f of x divided by delta x as delta x approaches 0. Plus, lagi yung tatandaan na lagi magkasama si delta at si x. Kasi ang ibig sabihin ng delta x, ito yung change in x natin. So, hindi nakamultiply yung delta doon sa x. First step is to change x to x plus delta x. So, we have f prime of x equals the limit of, so we have to substitute x plus delta x doon sa x squared natin. So we have x plus delta x squared minus f of x natin, which is x squared, divided by the delta x as delta x approaches 0. Simplify. F prime of x equals the limit of, we have to expand this term, so we have x squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared minus x squared divided by delta x as delta x approaches 0. Simplify ulit natin, magkakancel si x squared at negative x squared. Ang matitira ay si 2x delta x plus delta x squared. So we have f prime of delta x equals the limit of 2x delta x plus delta x squared divided by delta x as delta x approaches 0. Since kapag sinubstitute natin yung 0 sa ating delta x, magkakaroon tayo ng indeterminate form na sagot, which is 0 over 0. So, kailan natin i-factor out yung numerator natin? We have f prime of x equals the limit of, ilabas natin si delta x times the quantity 2x plus delta x divided by delta x as delta x approaches 0. So delta x magkakancel. Ang maiwan ay f prime of x equals the limit of 2x plus delta x as delta x as delta x approaches 0. Now, kailangan nating substitute yung delta x natin sa equation. So we have f prime of x is equal to 2x plus delta x, which is 0. So we have the derivative f prime of x is equal to 2x. So this is the derivative of x squared. So for our next example, given the function f of x equals x squared plus 2x plus 1, find its derivative. So from the given in our example, we have f of x equals x squared plus 2x plus 1. And we are asked to find the derivative. So again, let's start by writing our equation. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x as delta x approaches 0. Again, first step natin, substitute x plus delta x sa ating x. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of, substitute natin si x plus delta x sa x squared, x plus delta x squared plus, substitute natin si x plus delta x sa 2x. So we have 2 times x plus delta x plus yung 1 minus our f of x, which is x squared plus 2x plus 1. Divide by delta x as delta x approaches 0. Simplify natin. So, expand natin ito. So, we have f prime of x equals the limit of, expand natin ang term na to. So, we have x squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared. Then, expand ulit natin to. Plus 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1 minus x squared minus 2x minus 1 divide by x as delta x approaches 0. So x squared cancel. 2x cancel. Positive 1, negative 1 cancel. So ang naiwan na lang ay we have f prime of x equals the limit of 2x delta x plus delta x squared plus 2 delta x divide by delta x as delta x approaches 0. So since kapag sinubstitute ulit natin yung delta x natin sa ating equation, magkakaroon tayo ng 0 over 0 na sagot or indeterminate form na sagot. So kailan natin i-factor out yung numerator natin. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of, simply ilabas lang natin si delta x. So we have delta x times 2x plus delta x plus 2 divide by delta x as delta x approaches 0. Magkakancel si delta x. So we have f prime of x equals the limit of 2x plus delta x plus 2 as x or as delta x approaches 0. So substitute natin si delta x, which is 0, sa ating equation. So we have f prime of x equals 2x plus delta x is 0 plus 2. And we have the derivative of, we have f prime of x equals 2x plus 2. So the derivative of x squared plus 2x plus 1 is 2x plus 2. So that's it for the second part of our derivative as a slope of the tangent line. So see you on the next video.